The narratives that national media and fans form often turn out to be the way players are viewed, and right now, Brock Purdy, coming off a 3-game losing streak, is viewed terribly. But when you look at his stats, for instance his QBR, he comes in second, yards to attempt, first. I highlight these facts, not to say Brock Purdy's without blame, but rather to illustrate how the narrative we're often fed flies in direct opposition to what the statistics are saying. But Purdy isn't the only one struggling to get the recognition he deserves. Another player on San Francisco's offense that I believe is just as deadly as a Deebo Samuel, a Christian McCaffrey, or a George Kittle is Brandon Aiyuk. But you never really hear him mentioned when the national media is speaking about him. And I think that needs to change. Right now, for instance, Brandon Aiyuk has racked up 620 receiving yards. If he carries this out throughout the rest of the regular season, he'll have over 1,300 yards. Aiyuk isn't just catching dink or dunk passes though. He's top 10 in the league, coming in 5th overall in receptions of 20 plus yards. With some of Brandon Aiyuk's stats out of the way, the next major elephant in the room that needs to be addressed is Brandon Aiyuk's contract situation. Right now, he's in his final year of the contract, but with him being a first-round pick, San Francisco can decide to franchise tag him. Personally, if it was me though, I would break off Brandon Aiyuk with a massive contract. The first thing that I have to mention is his chemistry with your young quarterback Brock Purdy is insane, and that's what you want. Think about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, or Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. And right now, Brock Purdy is building a great connection with Brandon Aiyuk. While the connection between a quarterback and a wide receiver is paramount for their joint success, what's equally as important for a wide receiver, or basically any player, is how long they're able to stay available. And for Brandon Aiyuk, I think he should remain healthy because of the way he plays the position. He plays it much more like a traditional wide receiver. Think of a guy like Jerry Rice, who played late in his career. In comparison, a guy like Deebo Samuel plays a much more aggressive style of ball, and I think that's a reason for some of his injuries. With all those caveats out of the way, let's dive into Brandon Aiyuk's film and see what's made him so deadly throughout this year and why his connection with Brock Purdy has been so elite. The first aspect about Brandon Aiyuk's game that really has taken another step this year is his route running. Here, we can see how he's faking to block a backer, but rather than blocking the backer, he escapes to the secondary and is running wide open. While this is an excellent play design, it's also excellent route running by Aiyuk. But don't get it twisted, just because Brandon Aiyuk runs some deadly routes like this whip route against the Cleveland Browns doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to just burn your team once he catches the ball. He's a yak monster, and I guess that goes along with San Francisco's yak philosophy. While we've already focused on some trickery Brandon Aiyuk runs to get open, here I want to focus on these next two plays, how Brandon Aiyuk is able to create separation coming in and out of his breaks. On this play specifically, what I love about Brandon Aiyuk is his ability to set up his route. He fakes outside, then goes back inside to only come back outside. What this causes is the defender to stumble on himself and fall down, which allows Brock Purdy to find Brandon Aiyuk open and build that chemistry further. Many people talk about chemistry between a quarterback and a wide receiver. On these next few plays, I'm going to aim to show you. Here, we can see how Brock Purdy targets Brandon Aiyuk deep down the middle. While Aiyuk does have his man beat, there's 2 men in coverage, and this isn't Brock Purdy's strongest skill set. Nonetheless, he throws it. On this next play, we can see why Brock Purdy and Brandon Aiyuk has developed this connection. It's their ability to be on the same page. On this next play, we can see how the connection between Brock Purdy and Brandon Aiyuk is truly deadly. Brock Purdy's throwing it as soon as Brandon Aiyuk is coming out of his break, and that makes it extremely hard on the defense. But Brandon Aiyuk doesn't make it hard on the defense only through the passing game. Here in the rushing attack, we can see how Brandon Aiyuk keeps his motor running and just pancakes this dude. Right here, I think this is what sets Brandon Aiyuk apart from a lot of wide receivers. Plenty of wide receivers don't put in the effort on running plays. They act like, okay, it's not coming to me, nothing to do. But rather here, we can see how Brandon Aiyuk is a reason for this big play. But he's also able to make huge plays by himself. To examine this, I want to look at Brandon Aiyuk's 2 touchdown grabs on the year. Right here, what I love to see about Brandon Aiyuk is once again him getting that inside separation by having that hesitation outside step, which allows him to come open for Brock Purdy. But maybe more impressively is this next play, where Brandon Aiyuk is just targeted right off the back from Brock Purdy. You can see Brock Purdy's looking there and decided to go that direction once he saw Brandon Aiyuk's in man coverage. And the reason why he decided to go to Aiyuk is because, well, Brandon Aiyuk has some insane hands. I mean, this defender is draped all over Aiyuk, but nonetheless, he's able to come away with a touchdown. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Brandon Aiyuk's game though is how complete of a wide receiver he truly is. This guy can do it all, whether it's picking up yak yardage over the middle or even catching a contested pass from Brock Purdy. He looks like a complete wide receiver every play he's out there. He's consistently good. So with Brandon Aiyuk's contract extension coming up, what do you guys think? Do you think San Francisco should bring back Aiyuk on a massive contract, franchise tag him? Basically, I want to hear your thoughts down below. I think that San Francisco definitely should bring back Aiyuk. He makes a lot of sense for a young quarterback who loves to throw to him, and if the plan truly is to build around Brock Purdy, might as well keep his favorite target. But these are just my thoughts on Brandon Aiyuk's contract situation, and I'd love to get your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you liked and subscribed, and as always, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.